beautiful people. This is your host, Demara Virgil, and this is Queendom Conversations Podcast. Today, I have Qimmah Burgess. She is also known as Q, Qua, or Queen. She is the founder and CEO of Pillow Talk with a T podcast and Empower Her Tribe Nation. She's a passionate advocate for women's empowerment. Qimmah is a confidence coach, plus size model, curvy ambassador for body positivity, and motivational speaker. She uses her platform to inspire, motivate, and encourage others to embrace self-love and personal growth through candid, open conversations. With a deep belief in sisterhood, she lives by the mantra, I am my sister's keeper, helping women find their voice and stand in their truth. Ladies and gentlemen, Qimmah Burgess. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I read your bio, I went on your platforms, and I said, I have to get her on here. So let's just start with, how did all this begin? Let's just start with the beginning of you and your empowerment journey.
My empowerment journey started off just the fact of oneself. Because of course I cannot expand or be an advocate or either be the voice if I don't work on myself first. So basically the journey started with me, and it started basically me coming out of a domestic violence situation. Just end up tapping into myself even more, which I always been a confident woman, even a confident girl, young lady, because I had my family members always, especially my grandfather, poured into me, just letting me know who I was, letting me know my worth, letting me know my value. But of course, coming to becoming a young lady out of high school, going into college, you get into a situation where someone comes into your life, shiver you, everything's all good. Years later, you have a son, then things change. You start to doubt and question yourself and your abilities and who you are, what you're about, and start all those doubts start to come in. So it started basically with my journey of me healing and actually relinquishing my power back.
Amen to that. So let's talk about the process of getting your power back, because there are a lot of women who are going to watch this podcast and nobody has any idea of what they're dealing with when they're at home or behind closed doors.
One, I end up going on to starting with the journey of me just starting to want to know self. I say that I also started to went on the journey of just a healing, because I got tired of just surviving. I got tired of just floating through life, and I felt and I knew like I wasn't really breathing. And it's like the feeling like when you go underwater to hold your breath. That's how I was walking around life, like that. I was underwater throughout the whole walking through life. And I just was tired. It was time for me to get up from underneath the water and start to breathe again. And so what happened was I decided to add into things that started creating my healing journey: meditation, affirmation, self-talk, and love into myself. And then I also added, again, like I said, meditation. So me going, I remember one time during the pandemic, I was looking for a meditation coach. And I'm like, I came across another sister of mine who actually happened to be online, on live. And she mentioned about a meditation coach and telling me how amazing she's telling me she's a life coach as well, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, send me her information. So she DM'd me, send me her information. And from there, I started doing meditations every morning with women in this Zoom that we were just basically coming back to gathering ourselves, starting to learn how to love ourselves, start to come back to earth and start to breathe again, to exhale, and to properly know how to breathe, because we all walking through life thinking we properly breathing. We not. Yeah, so and that ended up leading on to me going on to a women's retreat. That retreat turned into a reality show, and it ends up basically it was called Soul Sisters Reality Show, where it was 12 women who was in the house, and we all was basically in the house trying to get and go for the same thing, was basically trying to just wanting to heal. from different traumatic situations. And
Mhm.
that's how my journey of healing and getting my power back was basically meditation, affirmation, self-love, and doing the work and trusting the process, but also giving myself grace.
Mm. That's important that you say grace because I know I come from a domestic violence, from an abusive marriage, and it was very hard to give myself grace in the beginning. I was upset with myself about the decisions that I made, about staying too long, and I was really hard on myself. And it took me a long time to love myself, to be able to look in the mirror and not feel ashamed or feel embarrassed.
Mhm.
So, in your healing journey, what was the most difficult part for you?
The most difficult part was basically just being able to have to forgive. I have to say that because this is something I remember talking to my meditation coach about. I said, how can I be able to forgive someone who physically, mentally, emotionally hurt me that I trusted and then I had a child with? And I
Mhm,
say, how? So she had to break it down to me. Listen, I know you heard what I'm about to say to you. Forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you.
mhm,
And long as you keep not choosing not to forgive, he's going to continue to hold your power. He's going to continue to hold on to things that you need for yourself, and it's your voice. It's
mhm,
your story. It's you walking into your truth, and you holding that anger is only going to relinquish you completely down and down. That was the most struggling part that was thing for me to do, for me to get my power back. But I did it by, again, giving myself grace,
mhm,
trusting myself, and
mhm,
trusting the process.
mhm, mhm. Let me say this, ladies. You were talking about how forgiveness was one of the most important things that you could have done. A lot of times when it comes to abuse, women don't realize that it's not always physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's emotional and it's verbal and it's even spiritual. And I say that because you have a person that can abuse you physically. You have a person that can talk down to you, so it's verbal abuse. You have a person that can break your spirit down so bad that you can't even function, so it's spiritual abuse. And so there are different types of abuse. Just because it's not physical does not mean that it's not abuse. And so that's
Yeah.
one thing that I wanted to clear up. When I was in the relationship that I was in, I was broken down on all those levels. It wasn't just physical, it was emotionally, spiritually, physically, and verbal. So there are different things that I had to heal from. There was a process, and then there were different steps. I had to write things down. I had to work on my vision board, and my relationship with God got stronger because I realized that I was not able to do it on my own. And so I had to turn it over to God and give it to God to give me the courage and strength I needed to be able to get through that season. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really grateful that you have the courage to come on here to speak your truth because there are a lot of women who are living this life. They're in the midst of this right now. Women we see every day, women we love, women we talk to, women we even have relationships with, and we are not aware of the things that they have going on. So let's talk about your journey after you healed because you are doing some amazing things. So let's talk about life after. What does it look like after that situation?
I do want to end up implementing what you said a little bit too, is
Okay.
in regards to also there's financial and reproductive abuse as well. And there's
Yes.
definitely, yes. So a lot of people may not think that could be, or they may
Yes.
not think that it's something that exists. I swear, go on to domesticviolence.org. You will see all the different ways of what
Mhm.
abuse is. But I just wanted to put that
I
out there.
agree 100%.
Yeah. And so
And it's
basically,
domesticviolence.org
yeah, so basically go on different domestic violence hotline, website that it would
websites
show
and
you
it
the
breaks
links.
it down.
It
Okay.
breaks
Okay.
it down, and it also and I love to share this too. It also gives you a sheet of a safety exit plan that a lot of people don't know that exist, where you
Mm,
could be able to safely remove yourself and leave the situation without end up being no longer here or existent no longer. As so
mm,
many women who have left and men who have left, and then they left, but they left because they didn't have a safety exit plan, or they didn't think about the after the leave method, because
Mm.
they still hunt you down afterwards.
Yeah,
But
they're
but if you go on the website, you could be able to actually find the different types of abuse, and you also could also find the difference, the exit safety exit strategy plan of how you could be able to step by step exit abusive situation
oh
in a
wow.
safe manner. But yes, and
So
so
what I'm
basically,
gonna do, ladies, let me say this real quick. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is when we're through with this, when I post this episode, I will put those links in the description so that you're able to find those resources, ladies. Thank you
yes.
for that. Okay.
No problem. I love sharing. So basically, my journey and everything, I turn my pain into my passion, into my purpose. Because again, I feel like what we go through is not, it's not in vain. It you can't be in vain, because you especially, you sit there and you believe in a higher power. You believe in this being, that a source of Father, Son, Holy Ghost, and all the spiritual. If you spiritual or religious, and I hate to throw that on people, but I am very spiritual, and I feel like I couldn't do or escape or either be made who I am if it wasn't for him, as well as my village and my tribe. I had to realize that I know God did not put me going through this for no reason. It had to, because again, he don't give his worst battles to his weakest soldiers, right? So I survived it, which many people didn't. So I was like, okay, this have to be something that you're giving me. I have to make something out of this. And that's when I end up turning all my things that I went through, all my pain that I went through, all my battle scars, into my purpose and my passion to be able to create Pillow Talk with the T. And I created Pillow Talk with the T literally right after I did the women's retreat.
Oh
After
wow.
that last assignment we had was the release ceremony. And ladies, the release ceremony is where you be able to write down on individual sheets of paper everything you want to be released from you, you want to let go, and you
Mhm.
end up putting it into a fire, a bonfire. And or either sometimes people do the bottle, put it in the bottle, sell it in the ocean. It's called the release. And what I did was, with this one piece of paper at that release ceremony, did not want to let up. And it was that on that piece of paper was for me to state that I want to be able to get the chains and the shackles removed off my feet, and to be able to relinquish my power back, and no longer have my abuser have my power, and as well as to get my voice along with my power, because I was quiet. I was really quiet about it. So that's when, from there, with that struggle of this, that one piece of paper did not want to burn. And it
Mhm.
came to the fact that my sisters, that women I just met, they helped me be able to actually recover this piece of paper, because the wind was blowing it. We had to chase it down the beach. It was not going to go into the
Wow.
fire. It's all my other 5 sheets of paper went into the fire with no problem, but this one piece of paper, it just, when the one, it, I tried to throw it in it, it flew away. We chasing it. I recover it. It did not want to burn. The fire went out. So I was
Oh,
sitting there saying, okay, it's something to
yeah.
this
To get
madness.
your attention. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh
So
wow.
from there, remembering a year before that, I remember a family member saying to me, "You need to create a show or podcast, because you have a story. You've
Mhm.
been through things, and not only that, we also." Many women need a sister like you, because we was blessed to have you as our cousin, our sister, our aunt, our niece, and we know that you don't sugarcoat things, and you tell us what we need to hear and not what we want to hear. A lot
Mhm.
of women are not blessed to receive that. So she was like, we want to be able to borrow you, let the world have you for that time, to be able to tell your story, and also to share your voice, and to have them be able to experience a sister that we was able to be blessed with.
Mhm.
So from there, after the retreat, that's when Pillow Talk with the T was created. And I said, I need to create a space that's safe, a space with no judgment, a space that anybody, especially my women, could come on a platform to be able to speak their truth,
Mhm.
tell their story, and to
Mhm.
be able to leave from my platform
Mhm.
released.
Mhm.
And that's what I end up basically doing. And that's how my journey of just Pillow Talk with the T, then from Pillow Talk with the T, Empower Her Tribe Nation, my foundation was created right
Mhm.
from the baby of Pillow Talk. Because so many women reached out to me asking me, where do you get this confidence from? Where do you get this boldness and this courageousness from? And you just so unapologetic about it. And I say, listen, it was from, I didn't do all this by myself. It's the things that I've been through, as well as the people who was in my life who poured it into me. And so I created that because I had so many emails, messages, DMs asking me about my stance in life and my confidence and my boldness. And I'm like, you know what? I need to share this. These women need this energy. And I feel like this is my cousin. This is what my cousin was talking about.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so that's how that came. And from there, between Pillow Talk and between Empower Her, I became an advocate for domestic violence, start telling my story. I became advocate for breast cancer awareness, organ donors. It's so many different things that's passionate to my heart. Not only if I had experienced it, but other people who close to me who have experienced it. I decided to want it to be an action advocate, not someone that say I'm an advocate, but don't be so active
We don't
about
have
it.
no action behind them, right?
Exactly.
Right.
I'm an action active advocate that actually sit there and actually do something about it and be out there on the sidewalks, be out there in the street,
That's right.
be out there talking it to the people,
That's right.
getting connected to these women in these shelters and these abusive safe houses and being able to touch them because I want them to know that they're not alone. I
That's
want
right.
them to know that I see them and we see them, and that if we was able to be able to survive and thrive, they could too.
That's right. That's right. You made so many valid points. I don't even know where to start. The first thing I want to say is your tribe and your village. We have to be very intentional about the people that we give access to us.
Hmm.
Life is different when you have the right type of women, and it doesn't have to be women, but just the right type of people that are in your circles that give you a different type of conversation and that believe in your vision and goals, even though they may not be able to see the vision. They believe in you enough to know that it's going to happen, and so they support you. We have to be accountable for keeping people in our lives that no longer serve a purpose there, right?
Yes.
Because we
Yeah.
can hold on for people too long and we put our focus on people too long, and then they become distractions and it takes us away from our purpose and from what God is telling us to do. Every season counts. There is no such thing, and I say this all the time, there is no such thing as something being too small. A lot of times we feel like we are not making an impact because it's not on a level where it's a lot of people we can see, or we feel like our reach is not large enough.
Hmm.
If you can have a conversation, or if you can speak words, or if you can be kind to one person and it shifts their atmosphere and it changes their mindset and it gives them focus and it puts them in a place to where they actually want to live and not die, that is enough. Small things matter, small things count, but we have to be willing to step out and be bold and have courage. And there are people who ask me, how do you have so much courage, and how did you become so bold? And it was a process, right? I'm stronger than what I've ever been in my whole life, but this is a process. This just did not happen over time. One thing I do is I don't compare myself to other people. I
Hmm.
may feel they may be stronger than me, or they may have better reach than me, or they could seem like they're more successful. Sometimes things on the outside does not really show you the person that's on the inside. There's a lot of things that look good and they are not good, just like all money is not good money. But I've learned to stay in my own lane, to keep my focus on God, and to do whatever it is that I'm supposed to be doing within this season. Whatever is for you, ladies, when it's the right season, when it's the right door, and when you are prepared for that blessing, for to have those resources or whatever it is in that season, when it's time for you, then that's the season you'll get those things. And you have such an amazing energy.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you for coming on this platform, because it would blow your mind to know how many women can relate to what we're saying. And if it's
Mhm.
not them, it's their sisters, it's their mothers, it's their aunties, it's their grandmothers, it's their best friends, co-workers. There are so many of us who we experience this, and we are silent and we feel ashamed and we feel alone and we feel like nobody understands. And I'm telling you right now, these are two women right here on this platform that have been through it. We have survived. We were surviving and now we're thriving. And we have lives and we're living our best lives. And we
Yes.
are at a place to where we are trying to help other women. If we can do it, if God brought us through it, He can do it for you. There are a lot of women who don't even want to live anymore.
Yeah.
They've had enough. They feel like life would be better if they weren't here. They have children, but they feel like they may not be good mothers because of situations that they feel like they put the kids in because of decisions they're making. There's so much guilt that women have, and they don't talk about it. They suppress it, and they're not honest. They don't have these honest conversations. And ladies,
Mhm.
if what I'm saying pertains to you, I'm telling you that it's never too late.
No.
And I'm telling you to be kind to yourself, to love yourself, and to forgive yourself and give yourself grace,
Absolutely.
because life is worth living. We are worthy of a good life. We do not have to settle. We do not have to be quiet and not speak into different areas that there's been silence too long. Our voices matter. Okay. Our pain, our suffering, the heartache, the disappointments, everything that we've been through matters. Nothing is too small. I say it all the time. We
Yeah.
are two examples that there is life after abuse. We are two examples that life goes on.
Absolutely. It
It
does.
goes on. It goes on. It's never too late. I'm 48 years old and I am just starting to live the life that God has promised me. I'm just starting to get to that place where that transition is happening and those doors are opening, and I'm able to help women at a capacity that I've never done before in my whole life. And I'm 48. Now, what about if I'd have said it's too late?
Mm-hmm.
48 is too late. It should, no, it's never too late, because our stories, our testimonies, the heartache, like everything that we've been through, that's how we're able to sit on this platform and just have a conversation with you and tell you. It's because of
Exactly.
the storms that we've endured and that we've conquered.
Yeah. And don't be ashamed to tell your story, because you got to realize your story is your testimony. Your story is your power.
It is.
That's your cape. And that's what sit there. And not only that, but that draws the people who that you need to attract to
Mhm.
be able to help other people. Because you got to realize, sitting into stand I tell my story for those women who did not survive, that
Amen.
cannot stand here to tell their story. So I
Mhm.
don't want no other woman. I don't want you ladies who listening to this or watching the show. I don't want you guys or none of you to be additional women added on to women I'm standing on that forum for, telling
Mhm.
my story, because you're not here to tell your story. And just like my sister said, it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what time in your life that you are in. It's
Mhm.
never too late. Long as you got breath in your body and blood running through your veins, you could always sit there and have a new beginning and to start over and end up living your best life.
Mhm. I agree 100%. And then I also want to add, sometimes it's not always a woman's spouse. Sometimes it can be her siblings that are abusive people in their family, some of the people they love most. And so I just want you ladies to understand that there is life after leaving, there is life after this heartache. And I just don't want you to give up. I just want you to keep going, ladies, because it's important. We need you, the world needs you, and your words can save a life.
Yes.
So let's talk about, you are a plus size model.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay. So how did you get into that?
Basically, it was always something I always loved to do. Like me and my sisters and my cousins always walking around the house. And our grandmother, she turning sheets into fashion,
Mhm,
in her
mhm,
closet, rocking her heels and sitting there putting the towel for the long hair, until I was like, long hair, I don't care about that. But natural hair, I do. But I got into it because, again, that was something that I felt like that would allow me to feel more confident in my skin, in my body, the frame that God created me. Because I'm not meant to be a size two. My frame ain't meant to be a size two, and I wanted to be able to show women that love the skin and the body that you in, because you was uniquely divine and created by the higher power and
mhm,
his vision. So for you to disrespect that is disrespecting him. And I just basically truly wanted to end up showing that in action, saying that with all your curves, your cellulite, your big hips and boobs, you could be able to still be beautiful no matter what size you in. So I definitely end up something that I wanted to definitely show action and put action on into. And it's something I love. Who don't love dressing up and being in different type of designs and walking in the runway with a spotlight and camera on you? That is this basically just gives you that boost of energy and that more confidence just knowing that you are an amazing person. And that, like I said, I just love it. And it was just something, again, I just wanted just to show women. Because me, I like to put my money where my mouth is.
Right.
I don't like to just talk. Sometimes my family members like half the time I don't even know what I'm doing because I don't say anything until I do it, and it was like, oh, that's where you was in your cocoon doing this whole time. So I like to be able to show up, show out, and be able to complete the assignment and the mission that was given to me, and that was something that I feel like when it came to plus size modeling, that was something that was connected to my motto, my mantra, and who I am.
Mhm. And that's a really good point because there are a lot of social pressures. And when you watch these videos and you're on Instagram and you see these Instagram
Mhm.
models and they are posting their, but that is not how they got their body by being in the gym. This is after the work has been done. And then we try to
Mhm.
compare ourselves to people who have had work done, and it's not a natural thing. And God, we are all unique. God made us, we are fearfully, we are wonderfully made, and there's nothing wrong with being different. There's nothing wrong with loving the skin you're in, and there's nothing wrong with just being proud about who you are, whether your hair is natural, whether it's short, whether you're plus size, whether you're small. You have some women feel like they're too big, you have some women who feel like they're too small, you have some women who feel like their
Mhm.
hair would grow, you got some women who don't even like long hair, it grows long but they keep it short. So there's just beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? We are all
Yeah.
beautiful. We are all uniquely made. And so don't compare yourself to which on Instagram and on Facebook and on TikTok, because 99.9% of that stuff that is not real. You can make yourself sick. You can have eating disorders trying to keep up with something that's fictional that is online. So that's a
Mhm.
really good point you made. So what are some of the things, like when you decided that you wanted to be a plus size model? Was there any resistance? Was it difficult for you?
Of course, there was difficulty. There's sometimes still difficulty now because now you have so many women who are in the plus size community are accepting and embracing their body in their full figureness. So, of course, the difficulty comes from the different designers, the shows, basically wanting to put the two women together. It's gonna always be difficulty in every lane that you basically get into. Because even from the difficulties saying that, oh, you can't be a model because you're not a 2 or 4 or 6 or 7. Now to the fact that there's doors and other women have opened up these doors that I stand on their shoulders, who open up the doors for myself and all of my other plus size constituents. And still the fact is we still kicking down barriers because we still want to get Victoria's Secret to put a plus size, true plus size model on that runway. Not one, we want 5. And 5 will turn into a whole group of 10 or 15. So we still have challenges. We have challenges again, a plus size model against another plus size model, and they sit and they want to compare us to the two. And that's in the industry doesn't doing it. And we just trying to make sure that we as women who are going into this industry, that you got to realize sometimes you're going to hear yeses and sometimes you're going to hear some no's, but turn that no into a maybe. You know what I'm saying? Come back, because maybe and sometimes they'll tell you why you wasn't picked. Sometimes, the majority of the time, they're not going to tell you why you wasn't picked. But you
Right.
have to make sure if this is something you want, something you believe in, something you're passionate about, don't let nobody discourage you, because some people do get discouraged if they hear too many no's and feel like this isn't for me. But of course, I just end up making sure when I go into that room, I'm not in competition with nobody.
That's
I'm
right.
not competing with nobody. I'm competing with myself.
That's right.
And I'm cheering my sisters on who are in that plus size community. And again, if I didn't get the gig and she or either one of them get the gig, I'm still cheering for them because guess what they did? They got the gig to continue to open up the doors and the barriers to me to expand that bad boy even more. So
That's right.
next time when I come, the runway is even longer. The door is even kicked down even wider and
That's
it's
right.
more other opportunities.
That's right.
So, but those are some challenges, some different things that we deal with. But again, as I see so many plus size women, we don't even allow that to bother us because we've been through so much, us being a full figure or plus size woman our whole life and the challenges of it. So for someone to tell us something opposite or different or try to discourage us or not even discourage us or either say give us no's or have these different things happening, we try not to let it be a part of our canvas at
Oh,
all.
I have had a lot of no's within my life and in different seasons. And what I have found to be true is a lot of times when there was a no, that there was a no for a reason. And then later on in life, I wind up getting a yes, and the yes was greater than the no that I got. So sometimes it's just not your time and it may not be your season for that. But when it's yes, when there's a blessing and it's yours, and there's opportunity and it's yours, and your name is on it, no one can take that away from you.
Absolutely.
So don't give up about no's. And then if you get a yes, it's still not a competition. We're all sisters. And so we still support each other. And it's the way that we look at situations when we may feel like they're not in our favor, but sometimes they are in our favor, but we just don't realize it, ladies. So can you tell the ladies, if you could go back to your younger years and just give yourself some advice, what would it be?
If I could go back to give my younger self advice, I would tell myself, be more patient.
Mm,
Be more patient. Everything's going to work out and don't worry. And definitely take in the advice that my grandmother gave me. You can't worry and pray at the same time.
mm,
So you got to do one or the other. You're going to have the faith, or you're going to sit there and be, discouraged and not believe. So
mm,
I definitely would tell myself to do that more because I just even answering this question, I could think back my 16, 15, 18-year-old self. I did a
mm.
lot of worry. I did a lot of worrying. I did a lot of doubt of is it going to work out and not sitting there making the choice of having faith because honestly, even me being 42 and me now standing on that advice she gave me, I
Mhm,
feel like I do more faith and
mhm,
praying. And it
mhm.
all works out. It really do. It works out. You did all
You
that
do.
work for no reason. And you be like, oh my God, I put my whole body through that. And it
Mhm,
ended up working out because again, we could make a plan all we want, but everything happens in God's timing because He has the final plan and the final say so. And just like you said, when it doesn't happen, it's
mhm.
just not your time. It's not your season. It's just not there. It's not for you at that moment. And again, I look at it as the God's rejection is God's protection.
I agree 100%. Ladies, overthinking and worrying. A lot of times we say that we pray about situations, and as soon as we get up and walk off, then we're worried about it again. I'm at a season in my life that I only focus on the things that I can control. And if I can't control it, then I don't give it too much thought because there's nothing that I can do about it. Sometimes when we worry, that's a distraction, ladies. And so I just want us to be mindful that you can't be lukewarm. Either you hot or either you cold.
Yeah,
So, with that being said, do you have a scripture or an affirmation you want to leave with the ladies?
absolutely. Something I always end my show with is this, or either anywhere if I'm speaking somewhere, I like to lead this with people. Don't be the shade to someone's light. Be the light to their shade.
I agree. This was a good interview. I have enjoyed this. This is
I
good.
did too.
This
Thank
is
you.
good. Once again, ladies, I am your host, Demira Virgil, and this is Queendom Conversations Podcast. On this platform, we empower women one podcast at a time. You can find me at queendom.com, Queendom Conversations. We also have the Queen Tribe that is on Facebook. And do you want to leave your social handles so that the ladies can find you?
Yes, you guys can find me on Instagram, Facebook, as well as TikTok at Pillow Talk with the T podcast or Pillow Talk with the T pod, and all the platforms on podcast platforms, as well as you could be able to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on those notifications at Pillow Talk with the T on YouTube, where we'll be back in November for season 6.
And then what about the Empower Her? That's a group on Facebook?
So Empower Her is actually right now, Empower Her is on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, which
Okay.
where I just decided to make it a public forum, which is something was public, but I decided to bring out the tribe into the masses of
Okay.
society.
Okay.
Because normally I meet with women, and women who hear me say about the Empower Her Tribe Nation, they'll immediately be like, "Oh, let me hit her up," because either some women already know me or people that know me recommend their sisters, cousins, aunts, and stuff like that to me. And
Mhm.
it's me and 2 other women who basically mentor and coach these women just to be able to motivate them, empower them, inspire them, and just encourage them to be the best version of themselves, and just to give them that uplifting voice. And again, now I'm turning that into where people from not just only privately, people could be able to be recommended to me or
Mhm.
to the tribe, but also the mass public could be able to reach out to us through our email at empowerhertribenation@gmail.com. You could DM us on any other the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, because we're about to start to end up doing something public wise, where either we're about to start doing Zooms where
Mhm.
people could be able, women could be able to be a part of their tribe in the community. We'll be also about to start doing speaking gigs, boot camps, meditation retreats, and
Mhm.
all different things, because it's time. We need to bring the tribe
Right.
of our sisters back together, and we also need to create this, bring the sisterhood back to where we need to be back in the African times, because baby, they didn't play when it came to sisterhood, but
Mhm.
also being there for one another, because it been too much separation and division, and it
Mhm.
been too much competition than lack of collaboration.
Mhm. I
And
agree.
we need to bring that back. And yeah, and stop having society, the newspaper, social media, the magazines, and the news, and any other negative source divide us, because again, we have to be there for each other.
Mm. Again, ladies, thank you so much for tuning in and thank you for coming on this podcast platform. I enjoyed this conversation and I hope that we can collaborate and do some things later on. Again, ladies, thank you all for tuning in and you all be blessed. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you for having me.